So let's talk more about the thing that a lot of podcasts argue about. They all arguing about right now about how a lot of women don't take accountability, and then women saying how men don't take accountability. You cannot say, I'm gonna say this right now. You cannot say you playing spades. You playing spades.
What's the rules?
Accountability is the big joker. If you don't have the big joker, it's not a guaranteed book. Accountability is the big joker.
And the big joker is always black, by the way. Always black.
And so when you're dealing with emotional intelligence and you say you got a high level of emotional intelligence, but you do not take accountability, that means your ass don't have emotional intelligence.
They had a plate there.
Yeah, facts. All right, fellas. Yo, man, honesty on the table.
Honesty.
Honesty on the table. Welcome to Honesty on the Table. First and foremost, be sure you click that subscribe button, like, comment, share, follow everything. You'll follow us on Honesty on the Table, man. IG, TikTok, YouTube. You know where to find us, man. But welcome. Honesty on the Table, man, where our mission is to cultivate a space where vulnerability, transparency, and humble curiosity serve as our healthy roots for individual and collective progress. Gentlemen, we shall continue this conversation. Emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence, man. Emotional intelligence. EI. If y'all have not read that book by Daniel Goleman,
it's a great book.
Emotional Intelligence, please do so. There's another book out there, I don't know the author, The Power of EQ. EQ, emotional intelligence, right? Bill Gates, a number of folks who are we put on high esteem in terms of value, worth, and potential. They've all have said in their dealings and their engagements with folks in regards of relationships, professional, personal, otherwise, what set the standard was that emotional intelligence. Be sure to garner some. Be sure to master it within yourself as well. And then be sure to read it and decipher it amongst those that's around you, because that will determine how high your emotional intelligence is, right? So, gentlemen, man, as we talk about emotional intelligence, we're talking about in the context, we've been talking about dating, getting to know folks, but we also sprinkled in a little bit in terms of how we are trying to hold ourselves accountable to the people we're engaging with in our everyday life. Particularly in the setting where we're talking about, relationships, dating, the getting to know phase, how emotional intelligence is pivotal. I mean, for me, I was able to see shit from a mile away because I was able to do my own dirty work to understand who it is that I am, why I am the way I am, and how I can set myself and put myself in position for success based on how I manage and utilize my emotions to the highest of ability, right? So what emotional intelligence mean for y'all, and how has it been a benefit? And along the way when y'all was learning about emotional intelligence, like how have you learned to use it? So how has it benefit, and how have you learned to use your emotional intelligence?
I feel like there's no emotional intelligence without, first and foremost, discipline. You can't be emotionally intelligent if you don't have the discipline. And then to piggyback what you were saying, you can't really be emotionally intelligent if you don't know yourself. If you don't know thyself, then there's no way you can be intelligent.
Love thyself.
You can't love thyself. You can't be intelligent to take care of thyself, to be emotional to protect thyself, right? So on the scale of emotional intelligence, I would just say, in your own right, emotional intelligence is just being who you are in the way where you provide and you express that self-respect, right? So for me, like, I don't let nobody play in my face, play with me, play about me, any sort. And when it comes to the opposition of dating a woman, I hold her to that same standard. Also, when it comes into the discipline of being disciplined emotionally, the key factor for me is knowing when to pick and choose your battles.
Facts.
Not all L's are truly L's.
That's true.
All right? Only some L's, we consider those L's, but it's really levels of just understanding. I understood that perspective. I didn't think of it that way. You know, just being open as well is key to emotional intelligence. I can say also just being willing to adapt, being coachable is key to emotional intelligence. And just
Humility right there.
yeah, and just overall being willing to acknowledge, be accountable, and hold yourself to standards and treat others how you want to be treated is emotional intelligence. And I can go on, bro, but that's just somewhat to sum it up for me personally. And without that emotional intelligence from a woman, for me, there's no value for you in my life, honestly. Keep it straight 100. If she lack emotional intelligence, if we take it back to the flags, bro, she's automatically orange and red. I'm not gonna really take you serious. I'm not gonna make time. I'm not gonna prioritize you. I'm gonna keep you in that bubble. I'm gonna say my little here and there, ask my little questions, advise you a little bit, and if you really want it and you really want to gain it, then we can progress and really see what's going on. But yeah, that's it for me.
I would say for me, the biggest thing when it comes to emotional intelligence would be self-regulation, right? So for me, having to realize that, you know, every action that you do has a reaction, whether it's good or bad, and understanding that I have the power to make those choices, and and also like take responsibility for the outcome that I played a part in. That was probably that's probably been the biggest challenge for me, and I'm still working through it. You know, when it comes to relationships that I've cultivated, that I've kept, like we spoke about in our previous episodes, like, hey, sometimes you got to you got to put them in black flag and just keep it pushing. Mm-hmm. You know, but sometimes, Captain Save-A-Ho, right? I'm going to get you out of black flag, I'm going to bring you back to green just so you can keep, stomping on my green, and I throw you back to black. Right. So I would just say that, and also just understanding that, hey, like, you're responsible for this. Me. Nope, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm responsible. I'm responsible for who I cultivate in my space, what I allow in my space. And I think that right there has had to be the biggest look self in the mirror type thing, because you're battling yourself every day, battling the man in the mirror every day. And you have to realize that you got to make a change. So I think self-regulation is that big one. Empathy a little bit more for people that are in the spaces that they're in, and being fine with them being in that space, instead of having to try to take them out of that space and come with me. It's like, you know what? I see that you're going through, what you're going through, and as of right now, like, that space I just can't be a part of. So I'm gonna separate myself, but I still love you. And that's just me being aware, because if I stay in that, then the relationship could just totally, it can go totally left. So that would be that for me.
Yeah, so emotional intelligence for me is broken down into the words itself. So intelligence, we understand, is a form of acquiring a certain amount of knowledge that informs you on how you need to best operate in a particular space or environment. And then with the emotion, we understand that at the heart of that is motion, is movement. And with the E, going back to the empathy, the ability to be able to understand intelligently the feelings that happen within a particular person. And so, as Jay and everyone else pointed out, it does start with the self, and it also starts with understanding how your emotions and what comes from you can be interpreted and received. Because when you understand how you communicate And depending on whoever you're communicating to, you understand that there's different ways in which this message can be received. And so because this message can be received in this particular way, I'm already anticipating that this may not be necessarily received well to this type of person, or that, this person may think that I'm being unnecessarily harsh, or this person may assume that, I'm being the smart ass, or this person may think, but a lot of times that may not even be the case. A lot of times emotional intelligence is really contingent on how this other person is receiving the information and when they're engaging in conversation or communication with you. I think as it relates to a relationship, for me, what I've seen women leverage with emotional intelligence is definitely their intuitiveness. And that intuitiveness is that gut feeling that woman has where, whether good or bad, she just, it's a feel that she just knows. It's
from God.
Like,
bro.
yeah, it's definitely,
it's from God.
Men have discernment and women have intuition.
Intuition, bro.
And so being able to assess how a woman operates within it I know that it's going to be different from me. Like the woman, she can just look like I can come in and I may have gotten fired from a job per se, for example. I may be going through some tough time, maybe the bank account, maybe the money getting low. And it's not necessarily something that I'm outwardly saying. That woman, when she loves you and she knows you intuitively, she can literally look at you, she can look at you and see your energy. Like she can literally feel every aspect of it, and she might not say it. She might even know the answer. She might know what's going on. She might have already been ushered the news. Somebody could already call her, whatever the circumstance is, but she know this might not be the best time to address it. Or she might understand that right now what you need, you might just need a back rub. Right now what you need, you might just need some coffee, or you might need some wine. So like being able to be with a woman that is able to be receptive to what you have going on and being able to intelligently inform themselves that this is how they need to interact with you. That is the power of a woman who's in her right state of mind, with her own, EQ. I think that's what I've seen and that's what I've experienced, and that's what I love most. When a woman is in tune with her emotions, and that's really the thin line that we have to figure out. Is like where is that line to where this is going how it should go versus let me bring you back a little bit, and that becomes difficult because I've been in certain situations, whether it's with parents or whatever, where they could be in their emotions about a particular thing and they don't think that they are. So like, how do you all deal with a person who maybe their way of communicating, they could either be, I'm not gonna necessarily say insensitive, but they may not even be understanding how their communication with you is not receptive to how you receive like their emotions to process it.
Say the question one more time.
So like, how do you deal with being able to receive the emotions of another person when they're communicating with you from a quote unquote negative place? Like, let's say there's some type of there's a disagreement, right? And that person's reaction is, you think is like over the top. You think, they throwing stuff, they slashing stuff. So like when you've been in these situations with different relationships with a woman, how is it that you approach your communication with understanding her EQ as well?
How I go about it, whenever I'm dealing with somebody who processes their emotions differently to a certain situation or circumstance that we may have both witnessed or they're sharing with me, I still continue to I continue to exercise how I would practice my emotional intelligence anyway. Like I won't match that energy.
Which is important.
I don't match that energy.
Which is important.
So if you come in at a way that's a little toxic and a little volatile, a little hostile, and I'm like, this is volatile, this is toxic, this is hostile, well, I'm still going to continue to maintain a sense of balance. And I will actually probe them. I'll ask them questions because you're looking for understanding. You're not looking for, and that's another thing. When you get into conversations with folks, whether it be a disagreement or they're giving you like an anecdote of something that they encountered or experienced, and they say, "Oh, I just want you to be on my side," all that stuff. No, I need to understand what's occurring so I can be able to give you and myself the clarity that we're both looking for since the conversation's inception, if that makes sense. So it's like, okay, you're coming at me with this kind of energy, but I'm gonna continue to come at you with mine, which hopefully if you're a kind of person with a high EQ, you would be balanced. You will assess everything and then you will ask questions, because what I found whenever I ask people questions in the midst of tension or in the midst of like high energy that is being like, exuded in that situation, the questions calm them down. It gets them to think.
They gotta think now.
Because when folks are when you are reacting, you're not breathing.
Shoulders be all tensed up.
When you're reacting, you're not breathing. That's why folks be like, calm down, count to 10, all this other shit, because you have to think. And sometimes when you in the moment, you heated, you don't think because you're not breathing. You're not putting yourself in position to be able to do so. And if I'm ever being pressed and I find myself backed in the corner, I'm quick to tell somebody, I need some space. Give me some space. Give me some time. I'll come back to you on that. I'll be so quick to say I need some space, or I don't know, or I'll circle back to you, because that gives me the space and the time to process it. You should not be in a rush to respond. You don't have to be in a rush to respond. You don't. But pressure will make you feel like you do, but that's not it. So you don't have to be so quick to respond. You can really just sit with it and come back to it, or sit with it and ask questions, or sit with it and respond in a way in which what we're looking for, again, is not just understanding, but we're looking for sincerity. We're looking for sincere, genuine, honest responses. Because if you do not take the time to sit down and to process, you're going to just be reacting, and then a day later, an hour later, once that situation concluded, you're going to hear the routine shit that everybody say when they got done reacting. I'm sorry for my reaction. That's not really who I am. That's not that's not how I truly felt.
Right.
All this other shit. Well, how you manage that, how you mitigate that is by slowing it down and not be pressed to respond, to engage, to pour fuel on their fire for right, wrong, and indifferent reasons. Slow it down, because you're looking for understanding. You're looking for clarity. You're not looking for an answer. You're looking for clarity and understanding. And if you come at it from that perspective, it will open up all these other cans, all these other cabinets in the house that you was like, that explains this, because you're the one who has the emotional intelligence to sit back and realize that this person's reaction is bigger than just this moment. This was a buildup of all the shit that had occurred beforehand. And now they've blown a gasket, or now they're a little bit uncomfortable by the situation, and they're coming to you. If they're coming to you about it, they trust in your judgment. You already got leverage just based on that. If somebody's coming to you whenever they're out of sorts and they're not emotionally stable, they're looking for you to be the person to calm the waters and to make sure that they have a smooth trip back to shore. That's the point. You see what I mean? But if you ain't emotionally intelligent and they ain't emotionally intelligent and they coming out of pocket about some shit, you're gonna come out of pocket about some shit, because you're not looking at the bigger picture, which is you're trying to clear the smoke to be able to see the sky. You're not trying to gauge the temperature. You're just clearing the smoke to check the forecast. That's it.
Now, I agree. And that is...
It's hard to do in the heat.
Yeah,
it's hard to do.
So,
but boy, it is powerful when you do it.
There's been we've seen different circumstances where you trying to be calm actually makes the situation worse. Have y'all ever been in a situation where you're completely calm, you're completely reserved,
I'm always that way, bro.
right?
And
then the energy is even worse. So how do you deal with those circumstances?
So
No, so what do you do? What are you doing right there in that moment?
Do you just slide off rip?
I have my answer, but I already spoke, so go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, I'll take the Jalen approach of meaning like, we can talk about this later. I'm going to call out the negative that we're both doing. I'm not in my right mind. You're upset. I'm upset. This is going to be toxic. I need to go.
Yeah.
She following.
I love you. I'll see you later.
She following.
But see, at that point, then you know that hey, she gotta like that. Hey, you,
And
you,
even if she's following me and I just take a walk, then we're going to take a walk.
No, you talking about following you? Like,
she follow. Like she follow.
me out
Yeah,
the
whatever.
door.
She like you not going.
Yeah,
like she's there elevated.
Are you taking a? Oh, see, nah.
She
see.
she gonna follow me, and guess what? We're gonna end up taking a walk.
Going to the park somewhere.
We're gonna go to the park somewhere.
But you talking about following you, like, and she coming at you?
I mean, well, yeah.
She's saying she don't want you to go.
She don't want you to go.
She's still
She's like,
nagging
no,
on
I'm
you.
They don't
tripping.
want you to go.
Like,
They don't.
motherfucker, woo, 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 da 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 da.
They don't want you to go.
They don't want you to go.
I don't know. In an angry space, like you said, like it coming from that tension stuff. I'm like Jalen as well. I like to ask questions. You know, obviously, right? Again, I'm slow. All right.
Questions ain't going through.
Well, the questions. Oh, if the questions are not going through, then at that point, then yes, I will have to disengage from the conversation. But I will say this, right? From a man who is still going through the lessons of emotional intelligence and still learning it, to me, I'm still at that point right now where it's that disrespect thing, right? Because when I get to a certain level of disrespect, then at that point I feel tried, right? So I would say something that I'm working on personally is that I am controlling my reaction to things, right? But at the end of the day, what they say to me has nothing to do with me. It has everything to do with them, right? It's hard, brother. It's hard.
I'm gonna tell you quick story time, real quick. Hey, so it was a circumstance situation in which it was a volatile. It was very volatile. Yelling, cussing, upset. I could tell that she was angry, like you said. It was a build-up. Build up of different things that I've done. And her not being able to articulate that in the most constructive way.
That's what happens when folks
right?
are unable to clearly articulate what it is that they really want to say. They instead just react, pop off, because again, that's what we should be looking for, is for them to really be able to articulate how they feel, why, what, when, where, and propose solutions, and for us to match them with that. You know what I'm saying? To meet them halfway by receiving the information that they give based on their ability. And it's a practice, it's a skill. Their ability to be able to articulate how they're feeling, why, when, what, where, and then how to proceed from there. If they can't get through all of that, you're going to find yourself in poor.
And that's why I'm trying to master that empathy part of the emotional intelligence. Because you ever like have an argument or you're talking to somebody during that type of situation, and you just like, bro, I hate your answers. Like what you're telling me or like how you're articulating how you're feeling. Yeah, I'm getting upset at her because it's like why are you like, who thinks like that? I'm starting to learn is like not everybody thinks like me. Not everybody reacts or responds to things like me. That's where the questions come in at. Right, and that's where the questions come in. But at some time, even then when they're not even understanding the questions, right? We're just like, you don't understand what I'm saying? Like, oh my gosh, like I've been learning to just be like, it's okay. Like you don't understand, and that's fine.
Exactly.
So Porter was saying, sorry, story time.
All right, real quick.
You got a point, Lo?
You got to
go ahead.
No. So with that empathy and understanding, is that solving the problem?
You said, is that solving the problem?
Or is that a temporary solution to calm the situation down for a further conversation that can turn into a solution?
What achieving understanding in the midst of
and that's where I was going.
In the midst of that conflict?
I would say that because when
you're achieving understanding in the midst of that conflict, is that supposed to be something you build?
No, he's saying like you're able to kind of like, are you saying you're able to like understand the situation for a second just to table it for a more calmer situation?
Yeah.
So in my situation that happened, we were at the crib, and good time, good rapport, couple of drinks. All of a sudden, she was triggered by not the drink, but
the drink was the influence.
But the drink was the influence, and it was a buildup of something that she had been holding in, and it's about 11:30. Phone started ringing.
Yours?
My fault.
And so my phone started ringing, and you know that initial ring.
Wait. What stage of this is?
Yeah, where you at?
Dating, courting, relationship, where y'all at?
We
Situationship?
It's okay.
It's okay to admit it, brother.
Yeah, we.
Ain't nothing wrong with it sometimes. Ain't nothing wrong with it sometimes.
Hey, look, we in that courtship.
Okay.
Not a relationship, but this is a relationship.
So it's a situation.
Situationship. Hey, shout out to the
Look,
situationship,
right,
man.
shout out to the situationship, but this was not a situationship. This was
Okay. Which
a
one is
courted relationship, and so
Courted
so-
relationship.
yeah.
But not exclusive to you.
So no exclusivity
On his behalf.
on your part.
Correct.
Her part, she think it's
No, but she understood what we had going on. She was informed. She was
she's informed. I mean, she understood.
Yeah,
that.
she was an informed participant. No lies told. So nonetheless, though,
Still be a situation.
it's always respect factors, right?
It's definitely.
So look, let me tell you, this is a college situation. Things, and you already know college.
There's definitely a situation in college. I would have been sniffing a relationship.
So look, right? So like I said, we in the room, you know,
Man, it's funny.
drinks. You know, it's a little vibe, phone ringing, and I know who called. I know who called. She calling, so I try to mute the phone real quick. Vroom, and do it 2 more times. So I put the phone on do not disturb.
Called you twice back to back. And it rang through.
The door.
Yeah, she's knocking on the door.
She knocking on the door.
Oh, you're in college.
You know we in college. You know you
down the street.
you staying right down the hall.
Look out the window. This nigga car outside.
You staying for real.
Touch the car. Always
It's car
warm.
outside. I know you ain't at a football game. Ain't no games today. Where you at? Your car right here.
Library closed.
Library's closed. It's
know,
late at night.
Cab is done.
Cab is done.
Bro, I'm so big on not having people know my schedule.
Just
because of shit like that, bro.
This taught me a valuable lesson. So like I said, now, you know, I have, you know, my fraternity brother diffused that situation. We moved that. I'm still dealing with the young lady right there. Now she upset. She's fucking pissed. I'm talking about, she like, nigga, so you playing with me? So you got this girl playing in my face, calling, da-da-da-da-da. You don't think I know who that is? And she's just yelling. She's just elevated. She's upset. And then my way of diffusing the situation, you motherfucking right. I'm a fucking asshole. I can't believe this shit, babe. I'm fucking tripping. I'm wilding.
You go to that rap.
And then so then she's like,
That's why this nigga
so then she says, nigga, I hate you. And I was like, I hate me too, babe. Fuck that. And then she looked at me and I looked at her, she just bust out laughing. So even though she was elevated and like she was fuming and she was upset, I was like, I started agreeing. I started agreeing in that particular moment. And then I was elevated as well, and I was very compassionate about what I was saying. I'm like, you fucking right. I'm a fucking asshole. This is ridiculous.
Were you agreeing to diffuse it?
Absolutely.
Or were you agreeing because you actually felt that way?
No.
Absolutely
not. Absolutely not. I didn't. But I understood that.
You understood how to diffuse it.
In that moment, she needed that. And then, like, because I'm, like, I was at that energy with her, but in a different way, it actually caused her to, like, just start laughing. Like, nigga, I hate you. Like, but stop fucking playing with me. Girl, I love you. Give me
Girl, I
kiss.
love you. Girl, come here, man.
So
give me a hug, girl.
that is just one. That was one instance in which I leveraged that, that particular situation. Because sometimes, like I said, you could try to walk away, but just depending on the type of woman that it is, it just different circumstances depend. So you gotta know your personnel. You have to know your woman.
That's facts.
If you don't know your woman like that, you shouldn't even be engaged in those type of dealings with her to begin with, whether you're in a situationship or not. So yeah, that's story time. It's funny, man. College days.
But building on that lightly though, let's talk about how the key aspect of emotional intelligence and being able to exercise that at a high level, regardless of circumstance or position you're in, is your willingness to have to take accountability, like the accountability piece. Like, even though it wasn't genuine, it still was right.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like, you're right.
No, you speaaking facts.
You still acknowledge
I still acknowledge
the truth.
You fucking
Even
right.
though
You're right.
You was like, I gotta say this shit to get out. And I gotta say it in a joking manner. I gotta do it in a way in which it may be dramatized, but yet it still addresses the truth. And you still had to take accountability for that. And I think when you don't have a high level of emotional intelligence, you really struggle being able to evaluate and consider your accountability in that circumstance, wherever it may be. So let's talk more about the thing that a lot of podcasts argue about, they all arguing about right now, about how a lot of women don't take accountability, and then women saying how men don't take accountability. But you cannot say, I'm gonna say this right now, you cannot say you playing spades. You playing spades.
What's the rules?
Accountability is the big joker. If you don't have the big joker, it's not a guaranteed book. Accountability is the big joker.
And the big joker is always black, by the way. Always black.
And so when you're dealing with emotional intelligence and you say you got a high level of emotional intelligence, but you do not take accountability, that means your ass don't have emotional intelligence. Straight up.
Let's talk about spade intelligence.
What you mean?
Bro, joker, deuce, deuce. That's what we talking about playing, right?
Yeah.
And you saying that the
one that says guarantee on
it's
it,
the red.
the one that says
I'm not disagreeing with
guarantee,
you. So I always make it.
with the scribe
Yeah,
letters
for
underneath
sure.
it, that's
Yeah.
the big joker.
For sure.
Okay.
Guarantee.
Yeah.
Always
The
make it black.
guarantee
Though.
is the big joker.
I make it black.
in spades.
Okay. So I was like, yeah.
I know you was looking at me kind of like, hold on, hey, time out.
But I know different cultures, different.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. The guarantee.
Some people
is
don't play
like
joker.
playing Uno. You know,
Right.
listen.
I learned the Caucasus way of playing Uno, bro.
Anyway, the point I was making with that analogy is that you
niggas
cannot.
ADD or something.
The point I was making with that analogy is you cannot say you have emotional intelligence and you lack accountability.
Agreed.
So when folks out here, hey, just like how folks be throwing around that term narcissist and shit, folks throwing around that term bipolar and shit to try to describe other folks who may have done them wrong because they may have sidestepped them taking accountability. Don't tell me you got emotional intelligence, you mature and all that bullshit, but an opportunity comes for you to take accountability and you fail to do so. I'm sorry, you do not have emotional intelligence. You're fronting. You're lying. You're lying. You cannot have emotional intelligence without accountability. Why? Because in order for you to be able to navigate these spaces of conflict or of pleasure, you have to be able to evaluate yourself, be aware of yourself, the circumstances, all of that, to say what it is that you need, why, what it is that you desire, why you made the choices, and why you may feel uncomfortable, and why you made that other person feel uncomfortable, and why, then leading to solutions. That's taking accountability, your part to play in it. If you're not acknowledging that and you want to play victim, you're not acknowledging that and you want to deflect, you're not acknowledging that and you want to continue to try to create villains in your own mind so you can avoid taking accountability, you do not have emotional intelligence. You are not mature. You are not someone I'm going to cuff, first and foremost. And you're not someone I'm going to be around. You know, so in those aspects, let's talk about the value of accountability and how it is severely overlooked. It is something that folks aspire to have, but they don't actually exercise. Let's talk about it.
When was the last time you took accountability for something? Like, when was the last time you just, you realized, like, you know what? That's on me.
Earlier today when you had beat me here. You beat me here to the parking lot.
How was that accountability?
Because if I got here sooner, we would have been able to know where we were going initially. Instead, I had you wait.
I learned from accountability because I'm not going to be late anymore. You know what I'm saying? So I had to hold myself accountable. Right. So I was like, I'm going to make sure I try to be the first one there.
But that was something in which I had to own. Because I was like, okay, if I said I was going to try to beat everybody here to it so we can find how to get here, then I need to ensure that I was here. Okay. And by the time I got here, you still had to wait. You see what I'm saying? You still had to wait to ensure that where I was parking was appropriate for all of us to park, and then, of course, leading to where we are now. Like, that was just me saying it to myself. I didn't necessarily have to apologize to you for it, but in terms of me knowing how to call my shot and knowing how to be better next time, that's accountability.
I get that.
How to be better next time.
Yeah.
How to be efficient and respectful next time. Capitalizing on your mistakes is accountability. Capitalizing on your fucking mistakes is accountability. It's that simple. You know what I'm saying? If you wrong, you wrong. I laugh at that shit, bro. Whenever I'm wrong, I be like, shit, damn, all right, damn,
That's on me.
appreciate that, you know what I mean? On to the next one.
Yeah.
But niggas be getting so caught up. They be thinking, damn, I'm wrong. The whole world sees me, I'm wrong. Everybody thinks I'm dumb or everybody thinks I'm this. No, that's all in your mind. That's all. Once people understand that them being wrong and them having to correct it and them exaggerating it is all in their mind, it will be so much easier for people to say, I was wrong. But folks be like, damn, I'm afraid how they gonna react. People are afraid of, that's another thing. People be like, I'm afraid of how somebody's gonna react. So, again, all in your fucking mind.
But why be afraid how they gonna react if you already did them wrong?
It's all in your mind.
Because they don't want to, yeah.
It's all in your mind. And then,
It's true.
Crazy.
perfect example, we were children. We knocked over that glass. We knocked over that vase. We went in that cookie jar when mama and grandmama and them told us not to. And then when they find out, what's the first thing we do? We lie. Why? Because we are afraid of the consequence.
Start crying, bro. I ain't even talking.
Afraid of the consequence. You cry, you do everything else instead of just saying it. Because why? You are afraid of the consequence. But let me flip it for you. You're afraid of the consequences when you do wrong. But you run to that bitch when you do right, though. Whenever you do right, you run. You can't wait to find that gratification. You can't wait to find the consequence of that.
All the glory.
Shit, I want my money, nigga. Shit, I got to go out 2,000 at. You gotta owe me some money, man. Let me go over there because you in the right. If we led with that same intention when we were wrong, people won't be able to tell the difference, which means they respect you wholly. It don't matter if when you right, it don't matter when you wrong. If you step up for it, you gain respect. You lose respect when you are inconsistent.
I would say that, like, even tackling on that back to the emotional intelligence part.
Shout out to you for being honest to your grandmama, man.
Yeah,
you know
that's-
what I'm saying? You know, I know you was like, yo, man, ain't lying.
He was like, not me. I said, ain't seen it, right? He was like,
I
he
be
said,
scared
that's
of
for y'all, all
that.
right, y'all heathens.
That would be something else. I be scared of that. Go ahead,
And what we do be something else, bro. But going back to, like, when we were talking about accountability, like, what are things that we've taken accountable for? So, like, for me, right, going back to the emotional intelligence, I'm working on it. All right? I ain't the best at it. I'm trying to strive to become the best version of myself when it comes to emotional intelligence, right? Another part of emotional intelligence is cultivating healthy relationships, right? And I'm gonna tell you guys something that I've never admitted to anybody. You guys are right. Situationships are horrible. Absolutely. Right? I've been holding on to it for a long time, but they're horrible, man. It's toxic.
Get your brother, man. Get your brother.
It's toxic.
I told you, situationships are
All
the
right.
devil, man. Situationships are the devil, bro.
Let me hold myself accountable, okay? So going back to the accountability part of that, right?
Thank you, brother.
Yeah.
I've had to learn that, like, so I've always had this thing in my mind when I'm dating women or just, you know, just dating women. Let's just say that, right? I'm dating women and I'm like, you know what? I'm doing these nice things for them. You know, I'm courting them or whatever, having sex with them, all this other stuff, right? But then I'm like, I don't want a relationship, right? And then going into the situationship, right, that I now acknowledge that was toxic. When they hit me with the emotions or whatever, you know, their actions from my actions, like, oh, you did this stuff for me, and you know, I thought you liked me like this, and I'm like, no, whoa, we in a relationship? What are you talking about? But it was like, I had to realize, like, well, nigga, if it looks like a duck, quacks like a duck, nigga, it's a duck. You know what I'm saying? So I had to take accountability in the sense of, like, I can't do that for everybody, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, certain people might look, like you said, like, going back to it, you have to tailor yourself to that particular person. So for me, I used to be like, nah, she tripping. Because I never established that we was in a relationship. We had never established that, right? And then in doing that, I'm not taking accountability for my actions. I'm not having no empathy towards their emotions because of what my actions have done, even though it's not a bad thing that I've done, right? Taking women out, you know, treating them with respect and all this other stuff, but I'm conveying something that's not real. So in essence, I'm lying. Right? But I'm not genuine, right? But I've convinced myself for so many years now that, oh, I'm just a good guy, and all I'm, you know what I'm saying, like, who wouldn't want, you know, to be with, you know, to fuck with a guy like me because I'm offering these things, but I just don't want a relationship, right? And so when I stay in that situation, that becomes that situationship, now I'm not taking no accountability because now they're showing me their emotions. I'm like, oh, nah, you tripping. So I'm learning, guys.
But the solution to that, as we said in part one, is just to CCU and communicate that. And
No,
sure.
Agreed. But see, my issue is that I will communicate that, but they would still show me their ass or show me their actions that they believe it's something else, and just because I want the booty, that ass, you know what I'm saying? I end up staying in it. So I just, that's just something I've worked through and I'm still working through, to hold myself accountable on that.
So at the point where you use the CCU, they still, I consider within their delusion
Agreed.
of their emotions, to still think it's more than what it is.
Saying the mind is a powerful thing.
Right. Then the solution to that would to leave.
Yes, solution is to leave, because at the end of the day, there's nothing.
Well, cut it off.
Right, it's cut it off, because if I stay,
Get out
all
of
I'm
there.
doing is validating their, like, oh, well, he didn't leave.
Get out of there.
But again, for the booty, I stayed. You know what I'm saying? Or even don't have to be just because of something like that. It could just be like, I genuinely love that person. You know what I'm saying? But I just don't want to do that particular thing with them in this stage of my life. You know what I'm saying?
You value that companionship.
Yeah, I value them as a person, that companionship, and maybe even the person that comes with them, being in their life or vice versa, right? But because I haven't took that accountability, like, Mike, you know what? If that person keeps showing you that they're in, like you said, Marlon, in that delusion, right? And if I continue to feed that, whose fault really is it at that point? It's my fault.
Yours.
And for my dumb ass, in my entire 20s, I've been just feeding that delusion, with certain people and things like that, and I haven't taken accountability. Like, you know what, Mike? Maybe this is your fault.
Right.
Maybe the reason that she's acting the way she's acting is because of you. Not necessarily saying you did anything bad or you lied or nothing like that. You kept it a buck the entire time. But when you're, because I always believe that actions show everything, right?
Absolutely.
And agree. And another thing too, like going back to, I think you said something about knowing like that person, like, okay, where they come from, like their history, their past, their traumas, the things they haven't dealt with, right? You see it.
You see it.
And those flags, right? Bro, we ignore the fuck out of the flags. Right. Especially if they look good, or like I said, they have that type of meaning towards you. You just overlook it. Oh, I love them. I care about them. They'll, whatever, right? Not knowing that I'm really hurting myself and I'm hurting them because we're creating a relationship that is toxic at this point, right? Going back to emotional intelligence, you got to create healthy relationships. And if it's not healthy, then what did you really accomplish?
Because again, if you're building that healthy relationship, you build that healthy relationship based on transparency. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Based on accountability. And then also you're building that based on patience too. Mm-hmm. So it goes right back to the inconsistency, consistent part. Mm-hmm. Are you patient? Mm-hmm. I just got your information. You just got mine. I don't know you. You don't know me. But yet you asking for all of this attention. You're asking for you having all these expectations. It's foolish for either of us.
Have expectations.
It's foolish for either of us to have these expectations and then to let our actions and our attitude towards you speak to those expectations. Mm. And that's ridiculous. It does you no favors whatsoever. But we find ourselves being tripped up in that because some of us, some folks say it's best to step into things with the end in mind. Okay, mm-hmm. So if you see somebody who's fine, they look like they everything in the bag of chips. You're gonna try to think like, damn, like who could this person be? Could they become my wife? Could they become this? Could they become that? Like, right. You're trying to sometimes see the end in mind before you proceed, which is nothing wrong with that. But you also have to use what God gave you, which is sense and reality. What's happening right now? Right now, you don't know them. They don't know you. Therefore, stay in your lane. Be consistently inconsistent. And then in that time, they will tell you everything you need to know. And please, fellas, I know it's hard. I know that ass fat. But please wait until you get as much mess. Wait until you get as many imperfections and flaws from them as possible before you proceed in that direction. I'm not saying it to try to devalue or because we all imperfect people. That's what I'm saying. Right. Like the same for the women too. If you see all these red flags from dude, get out of there. Men, you see all these red flags from shorty, Please leave them where they are. Some of them can blossom into good friendships. Some of them can blossom into nice, intimate companionships. Others can blossom into marriage. Others can blossom into just folks you met along the way while dating. It can all be healthy. All those relationships we establish with those folks can all be healthy if folks communicate, speak up, take accountability, and proceed as such. The only issue you did, Mike, mistake you made was a mistake I made too, was that I was saying one thing and my actions was doing another.
Yeah.
Once you say it, you have to stand on it.
Yeah.
So if you say you don't want to be in a relationship,
You gotta stop doing
you need
relationship
to
shit.
stand on it. You need to showcase that you're not ready to be in a relationship. You need to showcase that you're ready to be in a relationship. You need to showcase that you're ready to court. You need to showcase that you're ready to be married. But you have to stand on it. You have to take accountability for those times in which your voice and your words did not align with your actions. You got to take accountability for that. And that was one of the biggest things I learned, coming out of my previous relationship, which was like, damn, like, if I had aligned this with this, I probably would have been in a better position. I've been in a healthier position if I aligned my actions with my intuition. And a lot of us don't do that, you know what I mean? Because again, we so caught up in the temptation, and we so caught up in the ego, and we so caught up in the fear, and we so caught up in the insecurities that lines get blurred.
Yeah.
I just pray you make it out alive, because folks do get killed off of that. Straight up, it gets that real. So in case for all y'all out there being dramatic and saying, oh, that man just being dramatic or that girl just being dramatic, you never know where they come from. You don't know what type of shit they bringing.
That's right.
So if you don't stand on respect to align your actions with your words, you may find yourself compromised in ways that you may not be able to get out of. Straight up, man. Boy.
And on that note, y'all,
Subscribe. Be sure, hit that subscribe button. Like, comment, share. You'll find us, I'll see on the table. IG, YouTube, TikTok, you know where it is.
Always begin with the end in mind.